living very well, am I? You say, well, what's wrong with it? You know what? I'm not trying to really make anything wrong with it. I'm trying to just get across a principle that we're so much better off to give anytime we can give than to try to labor to get it in some natural way. Be generous. Have a generous spirit. Don't give the least amount that you can and try to make a few bucks off of everything you do. Give. Yeah, and I know why you're quiet, because you're thinking, is it wrong to have a garage sale? I don't care how many garage sales you have. But I mean, I think there is a point where we need to think, how much time am I going to put into this? Yeah, it's like I used to drive all over town trying to find a sale, and finally one day realized I was spending more in gas than I was getting on the sale when I finally got there. All right, I'm veering off in other areas. I need to behave and get back here. I believe that we see things a lot differently than God does. You know, Moses was referred to as a servant in all of God's house. Jesus is referred to as a servant. Now, most of us, if somebody said to you, are you a servant? And it wasn't in a church setting like this. I mean, naturally, you'd give the right answer if I ask you now, but you know, we always want to have a title and feel important. And, you know, I've told people that work for me, like, when somebody asks you, what do you do for Joyce? Why don't you just tell them I help? Why are we all so overly interested in having our title? You know, people ask me, well, how would you like us to introduce you? Reverend, doctor, bishop, apostle. I said, well, I started out as Joyce. I think that's who I still am. And, you know, there's nothing at all wrong with titles for honor, but we sure should never insist that somebody give us one. It should be something that they confer on us if they want to, but we don't need to need it. Amen? Okay. You guys are wearing me out. Let's look at, oh man, I've gotten so lost. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. See, Dave lost his place up here this morning. I said, just do what I do. Just tell him you forgot what you were saying and go on about your business. People like it when they think you're a little dumb. Makes them feel good. Yeah, sometimes I still have to find one of the books in the Bible in the front. I've been 37 years I've been studying the Word, and I'm like, where is that little prophet? Where's he in? See, now you like me better. Matthew chapter 20, verse 20. Matthew 20, verse 20. Then the mother of Zebedee's children came up to him with her sons, and kneeling down, she worshiped him and said, could you do me a favor? And he said, well, what is it that you want? And she said, give orders that these two sons of mine might sit, one at your right hand and one at your left, when you come into your kingdom. But Jesus replied, you don't even realize what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I'm about to drink, and to be baptized with the baptism with which I am baptized? Now look here. If you want to sit with Jesus, then you got to be willing to be a servant like Jesus was a servant. This woman didn't know what she was talking about. She wanted her sons to have titles and positions and to be well thought of. And Jesus said, are you able to drink the cup that I drink? Are you able to live the self-sacrificing life that I'm going to live? Are you able to forget yourself and meet the needs of other people? Isn't that what Jesus did? So what are we really saying when we say, I want to be like Jesus? I mean, it can't just be this floaty cloud-like, oh, yes, just make me like you, Jesus. It's all about you, Jesus. I just don't do well with that kind of stuff. I mean, look, we're having fun in here, but here's the bad news. You got to go home. And when you do, I want you to go home and act like you got something. I want you to go home and be so changed that next year, if anybody hears I'm anywhere in the vicinity, they'll pay you to go back. And get some more of that God help you got the last time, because you came home in better condition than you were when you left. You do not know what you're asking for. He said to them, you will drink the cup that I drank, but seats at my right and left hand, those are not mine to give, but they are for those for whom it has been ordained and prepared by my Father. And I love this part. Then when the other 10 disciples heard this, they got indignant. They're like, well, who do you think you are? Those seats are going to be ours, surely. You guys are way down the list when it comes to those positions. Huh. That's what it means to be indignant, you know. It's like, who do you think you are? See, I've had a lot of practice at all this. And Jesus called them to him and said, you know that the rulers and the Gentiles lord it over them, and great men hold them in subjection, tyrannizing them. Verse 26, not so shall it be among you, but whoever wishes to be great among you must be your servant. Good, I got 3 people clapping over here. And what does this mean? It doesn't mean that you have to go scrub the floor before you leave, although if it needs to be scrubbed, you're not too good to. But that doesn't mean that that's what I'm asking you to do. What I'm asking is for myself and for all of us to realize the great importance of where we're at in society today and what is going on in the world today. And there is no hope for society without us. It's getting darker, and when I say us, I mean God working through us. If I said to any of you, how many of you believe that God is the answer? You'd all say yes. But how do we think that people are going to see God? Well, yes, we'd love for him to appear. I'd love that. Jesus, come on down here and straighten this out. But until he does, he's got us. We've got him, but we're all he's got. You and me, we are all that God has got. And if we are going to be easily offended and touchy and keep a list of every little wrong thing that everybody does to us and get out in society and rant and rave on people and be impatient with every little mistake that they make, how can we expect anybody to want what we have? How can we expect the church to do anything but decrease in size week by week by week? And worldwide, and I'm sure this church is growing, and there are many churches that are growing, but worldwide, there are less people going to church now than at any other time in history. And that is spooky, scary. And you know why? Because a lot of people don't really see anything real about the life of a Christian. And I am determined that as long as I've got breath, I am going to teach people, if we're going to do this, then let's not let it be in name only. Let's bear the fruit and live the life. Amen? I mean, we are living in desperate times. Don't pray for God to get you out of the place where you work because you're the only Christian there. Well, God, I just can't stay here any longer. I'm the only Christian here. Well, did you pray for God to use you? Well, good. Then he put you somewhere where you're needed. Now just get there and forget about your sweet little self and just be a light in a dark place. Show everybody the love of God. And when you need to get out of there, God will get you out of there if you need to get out of there. How many of you understand what I'm saying? I needed this today. I don't know about you, but I needed this today. Now, let me read you a couple stories. You know, we all know that something needs to be done. We're just not sure that we're the ones that should do it. The government needs to take care of everything. Well, we've seen how that's working. They, whoever they are, I don't not figured out who they are yet, but they're the ones that need to do it.
Thanks for listening. Learn the value of walking in love with today's offer, Live to Love 4 CD series.